Hi guys, good morning and welcome to a year we'll never forget in our lives. We've talked about how critical this year is with everything happening, and certainly we're living it right now. This is truly a year you'll tell your grandkids. Before we start, I want to just give you a little update. Willie came with Mrs. Schneider and kicked me out of class. I was under my desk and they forced me out into the streets. I hitchhiked, picked up Kitty along the way, and a nice hostess picked me up and is allowing me to use her home for shelter. And so I want to thank her. And what we're going to do is simply every Friday, to reiterate, news, you're going to write down 10 questions with answers for the news quiz. You're going to make your own news quiz, filling in the answers. And then obviously it's an easy 10 out of 10 for most, I hope all of you. And so that's the requirement. About every other day, I'll be posting what I think is the significant news. Hopefully you along the way can pick up what you think would be nice to add. Now with history, we're starting today with a new unit, and we're going to go this week with a new unit, have a test next week. It is critical that you take notes on the information because it's going to be, are you ready for this? An open notebook test. Yes, you heard me. Oh, Evan, did you wake up there? Okay, an open notebook test, meaning you just use your notes, use everything you have, and complete the test, and then you'll just send it back to me. And we're going to get through this together, guys. I miss you and love you. And with that, I think we're ready to start. Once again, when we go through, you have to write those notes down, okay? In using, when I say and point to the board, similar to at school, write that down, okay? All right, so with that, we have a new student. Hi, Kitty. Welcome to the class. Hopefully you'll pass. I'm worried. Okay, there we go. Oh, he's really interested. Okay, all right. With this, we stopped, if you remember our last unit, 44 BC, when Julius Caesar was, what happened? Motts is all over this. He's killed, obviously, by Cassius and Brutus. And so what are we going to do as far as the Roman Empire? Who's going to lead that empire? A lot of questions. What we start seeing is a vie for power from all facets of the Roman Empire. Everyone, especially the Senate, are trying to get that power. Now, if you are the Senate, that patrician class that we've talked about, who do you think they would like in power? And I'm asking Aiden now. Aiden, what do you think? He's scratching his head going, I don't know. Samuel's blurting out, someone strong. No! Somebody weak. Good job, Samuel. Someone that's weak, that they can control, that they can dictate to, that's going to be passive while they keep amassing their own power. So what type of person are we going to see rise up? His name, my friends, is Octavian. Octavian. He's, at this point, 44 BC, he's just 18 years old, and you say, wow, that's pretty young. Not really, because at this time period, life expectancy and such, and Octavian was always hanging out in the Forum in Rome, in the Senate. He was always hanging out. Everyone knew him. However, get this, he was very sickly. He was weak and sickly. The Senate perks up on this. Obviously, they're looking at Octavian as what? Not going to be living that long, and therefore he won't have the power. And he's also, and this is the justification, he's Julius Caesar's grandnephew. You heard me. He's related to Julius Caesar. So Octavian holds all the cards for people to accept him into the ranks of being a leader, even at that young age, because he's probably going to die anyway, and he's related to Julius Caesar, so who can argue with that? Oh, wow, he's related to JC. Cool, we have to like him. So Octavian fits that bill. Now it gets really interesting. If you guys remember what happened to Alexander the Great's dad, King Philip. Hudson, I see Hudson, Clayton. Oh, Edwin's laughing. What is it, Edwin? What? Oh, Will Brown, you just blurted out. He was killed because he was cheating on his wife and then got divorced with the baby. Yes, Will, you're right. Okay, here we see something else that's kinky, similar to Pompey and Julius Caesar. Okay, and that is Octavian marries Claudia. Who's Claudia, you ask? Claudia is Mark Antony's stepdaughter. What do we see now? We see Octavian cementing himself with Mark Antony. Okay? What this does is starts to set up that relationship that we're going to be talking about here. Okay? Now, that's number one. Number two, who is the second person that I just mentioned? Mark Antony. He's an experienced general. We know that. He goes out into the east. He's obviously pro Julius Caesar. What does he do? Oh, Colette's already laughing, knowing what's going to happen here. Mark Antony marries Octavia. Interesting name, huh? Interesting because why? Octavia is Octavian's sister. Okay? His sister, Mark Antony marries. And you know how brothers and sisters are. They're tight. As long as what? Mark Antony minds his P's and Q's. The sister isn't going to be squealing to Octavian, brother. So now they have this relationship. Okay? And those two form an alliance with number three, Lepidus. Lepidus is an experienced general in the Mediterranean world. Okay? He fought this with the same time for the Roman Empire as Julius Caesar. After Julius Caesar's death, he rises up in the military ranks. We know Mark Antony is an experienced general to the east, and we have the Roman leader that's going to stay in Rome and guide the Roman people. These three form the second triumvirate. We talked about the first triumvirate. If you remember, Julius Caesar.
What three, Mr. Klein?
The three are Lepidus, Mark Antony, Octavian. Those three form the second triumvirate. If you remember the first triumvirate, Julius Caesar, Crassus the rich, and well, Crassus died, of course. He was older. We know what happened to Pompey. Oh, wait, we don't know? Wait a minute. Am I thinking, Chloe, what happened to Pompey? Oh, I see her in the back. You're right. He was killed and beheaded in Alexandria. Okay, so this is now the second triumvirate. They ruled together for approximately a 10-year period, from 43 BC to 33 BC. Everything was cool. They ruled together, no problems, until you know what happens. It's always the woman who's scorned. Mark Antony, as I said, goes to the east and expands the Roman Empire to the eastern Mediterranean. He goes into Alexandria, and who does he see and meet? None other than the fetching Cleopatra, who even stole Julius Caesar's heart of sorts. The purple sails. No man can resist Cleopatra. We remember the scorned woman. What happened to the scorned woman with Alexander's dad? Killed. Mark Antony meets Cleopatra and forms an alliance with her. They hook up and form an alliance. Well, from Rome, Octavian hears this. Two things happen. One, the Roman people are thinking he's going to rule the Roman Empire from the east in Alexandria with Cleopatra. However, something else. Octavian's really ticked off because why? Why? Did we forget who he's married to? Octavian's sister, Octavia. He's married to Octavian's sister, man. You can't go and hang out with Cleopatra. Are you a fool? What does Octavian do? He orders troops and men into Egypt to arrest Mark Antony. And what happens? Cleopatra and Mark Antony, a love together forever. Oh, let us fall in each other's arms. We're going to see this this spring with Romeo and Juliet. And I'm like, okay, so much for these strong leaders. They kill themselves in Egypt. After this, what happens with this war breaking out? Lepidus decides to gain more control, and his men actually desert him and join Octavian's men. So Lepidus is diminished in power after the civil wars here of 31 BC. In 27 BC, Octavian changes his name by the will of the people. This is very, very important, guys. Octavian is given a title called the Exalted One, meaning Augustus. What is that again? 27 BC, he is given the title Augustus, the Exalted One. This is giving him basically carte blanche to be that not only dictator, but this emperor. This is the word that they're using for an emperor. So this feeble 18-year-old weak kid is still kicking, okay, in 27 BC, so much for being weak and dying. And it's what? Can you predict it? The Senate's worst nightmare. He's going to be around, except you have heard of him called Augustus Caesar. When we hear Caesar, it's generally in reference to Augustus Caesar because he starts a period of 41 years of peace and prosperity for Rome. Now, what did Augustus Caesar do for the Roman people? Stay tuned and find out next time. Thanks. Oh, and email me if you have any questions. I forgot. Email me any questions. We'll go through this. Know these notes. These will be on the test.
YouTube.
Okay.
You're going to see it on YouTube.
On YouTube, yep.